Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
This is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast where we ruin the happiest time of year for you. Because today, we read The Hopes and Fears of All the Years.
Written by Paul Cornell.
And it was published on the Telegraph website on the 22nd of December, 2007. This is
Just in time for Christmas.
This is our first Christmas special.
And hopefully last.
And potentially only.
Probably last.
Yeah, because most of the reason why we're doing this, first off, Merry Christmas. But second off, the main reason is because we have a very special announcement which we're going to put at the end of the episode to force you to listen to the rest of the episode to get to it.
I really want to spoil it right now.
I mean,
really
even
do.
if you did,
No,
I'm the one who
yeah.
edits these things, and I'm just going to cut it out if you do, so...
Well, I'm not going to. I wouldn't want to ruin the Christmas surprise.
Yeah, I don't really know how much of a surprise it is, but anyway.
It's probably not a surprise to, like, the two people who probably already know about it.
Like, the 5 people who follow my Twitter.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about the story first. The hopes and fears of all the years. It rhymes.
Huh. Isn't this it's a reference to something, I think.
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure we're just completely not getting it at all.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess.
The fewer references you can get, the better.
Anyway, so it starts off... It's pretty short. It's just like a page.
Yeah, it's probably only like a 5-minute read. It starts in 1920 on Christmas.
Yeah, or the night before Christmas, I guess, because...
Yeah, and all through the house...
Not a creature was stirring, not
except
even...
for this kid who's up on Christmas Eve.
Yeah!
Get to bed. I
this
forgot
kid,
his name.
Tom Wake.
Tom.
And Tom believes in Santa.
I get it, Tom Wake. Huh. I get you, Paul Cornell.
We've cracked the code! And this little boy, Tom, believes in Santa, and he hears a ruckus throughout the house. He's like, oh man, it must be Santa, because Mom and Dad are asleep because I can hear them snoring.
He actually doesn't say it's Santa. He's like, I wonder who that could be.
Yeah,
but
when
you kind of know that he's thinking, like, yeah, it's probably Santa.
Especially since the person comes through the chimney. It's the Doctor, by the way. It's the 10th Doctor, traveling alone at some indeterminate period in his lifetime when he's traveling alone.
Yep. He was stuck in the TARDIS got stuck in the chimney. So the Doctor got stuck in the chimney.
Big chimney.
And he falls out and confronts Tom.
Yeah, and instead of immediately asking if it's Santa, Tom's like, are you a burglar?
Really smart kid.
And the Doctor's like, no, I'm not a burglar. Tom also sees like a gift that's like not really a gift because it's not wrapped or anything. It's like a small metal cylinder. It's a sonic screwdriver. And it's got like a new note on it. Like Tom senses that it's new and wasn't there when they put the presents under the tree. So he's kind of curious about what it is. Yeah.
There's a lot of narration. It's a third-person story. And it wasn't that enjoyable. I guess based on just Father's Day, I guess Paul Cornell seems to be better at writing like scripts than, stories like this.
I liked the ending. I thought the ending was kind of happy and upbeat.
The end. I like the endings that brought in the like impossible object thing, which Doctor Who's never done before, surprisingly enough.
So yeah, the Doctor sees the sonic screwdriver and he picks it up, and the note is like, "Hey Doctor, thanks for getting me through all that trouble." Signed Christmas 2007.
2007.
I almost said 2017 because that's this year. And the Doctor's like, that's kind of weird. Must mean I protect you from something on all these Christmases for the next 87 years. Yeah, so the Doctor's like, I guess I protect you on all the Christmases coming up. So I guess that means I'll see you next year. Yeah, and so basically the story goes through like Tom's life, and the Doctor always comes back at Christmas. And apparently the Doctor's just hopping through all these Christmases one after another.
Yeah, he says they're about 5 minutes apart, I think. And I don't think we're going to... It touches on a lot of them, actually, but I don't think we're going to describe every single one. We just go through the stages of Tom's life. It's pretty interesting seeing the different stages, I guess.
Yeah, so Tom grows up, and he meets a girl named Alice, and they fall in love, and they get married, and they have a kid. And apparently throughout all this, Tom wasn't sure if the Doctor was real, but when he kept coming back, he was like, yeah, Tom, I'm here for you, man, for your life. And then Alice, apparently believes Tom when he explains to the Doctor, which is why he falls in love with her, and then she finds out he's real. Like that Graham
Greene story about the guy whose dad got killed by a pig falling off of a balcony. I forgot what that story's called, but...
And then they have a kid, I forget what they name it, something with an M.
Mary, I think.
I think Mary.
Wait a minute, Mary? Like, okay, I get you, Paul Cornell.
And so Mary grows older too, and Mary goes off and leaves because she doesn't believe in the doctor, because apparently somehow she hasn't seen the doctor in all this, because the doctor's only coming back for Tom. Because
really lame reason to leave your parents. Like, you guys actually believe in this hallucinogenic figure? Well, I'm not having any of that.
I'm not having no hallucinogens.
Thanks for raising me for 20 years, but see ya.
Yeah, and like the only actual danger that the doctor saves Tom from is
when he goes to war.
Yeah, he goes to, I think it's implied to be World War One or Two.
It must be 2. He goes to
He goes in the late 30s, so
actually,
yeah.
Myanmar, Paul.
Yeah, it was the late 30s, so I guess it actually was World War II. But he loses his arm in the war.
I think it was actually, I don't think it was necessarily, probably related to World War II, but this was around the time of Indian independence. And
yeah, I think it's actually supposed to be implied that he's not fighting in like the European front of World War II, because it talks about traveling through trees and running through the forest.
He's in Burma, which is Myanmar today, which I think is related to the Indian independence and split between India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. I don't know how Myanmar fits into all of that, but I think it does. This, I think, was also around the time that Myanmar started its isolationist policy, which it just came out of, like, recently.
Yeah, so it must have been that, because they was talking about running through forest as well. And they get to a chasm, and also he loses his arm.
Yeah.
That.
The doctor uses the sonic screwdriver to... I
guess make the pain go away.
Yeah, make the pain go away.
But yeah, so Mary grows up and grows old, and then Alice ends up dying from complications from anesthesia. And
Tom has grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and eventually gets put in a home.
Yeah, he leaves his own home. It says he doesn't want to because all his memories of Alice are there, but he has to because he's getting too old to take care of himself.
Yeah.
And he makes it to 2007. And
this guy's like almost 100 years
old.
He's
like 87. He must be like 90-something now.
Yeah. He was born in 1911 because it says he's 9 in 1920. So
he's pretty close then.
Yeah.
He's 90 what? 7.
Yeah. So yeah, 97. And
maybe 96.
96 or 97. And I think maybe this was just me, but based on the doctor's dialogue at the end, I thought the doctor was implying that he was going to die next year.
Yeah, it sounded like it. But also,
How did the doctor know?
Some of the dialogue, like Tom says, like, oh, I'm getting old, like, I'm probably going to croak soon anyway.
I mean, he seems really resigned and okay with dying. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Plus, he's 97 years old.
He's lived a long and fruitful life.
But still.
He's lived through at least one world war. He saw people land on the moon.
Well, he's lived through 2 and fought in possibly 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, he lived a pretty...
Yeah, I mean, if you're born in 1911 and die in 2008, you saw, like, a lot of stuff go down.
So then the doctor's like, let's go find out. Let's go back to that first Christmas. You and me and... Cause Tom's in a wheelchair.
Because Tom is like, because they never actually figured out what the danger was. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, the only real time you were in danger on Christmas was when you were in the war. Mm-hmm. So let's go back and find out what's up.
So they go back to the first Christmas that the doctor was at, and then Tom realizes that giving the doctor like a family for Christmas for a while was like his gift to the doctor. So he writes the note, and he takes the doctor's sonic screwdriver and puts it under the tree, and the doctor's like, oh, okay. Yeah, Tom's like, I guess this was my gift to you all along, was a family for a little while.
Yeah, probably, I mean, went by in like a day for the doctor.
But the doctor appreciates it.
He appreciates it, and he's ready to go off in the TARDIS again, and he's thankful. Which I guess is the point of Christmas, right? Right? It's not just buying stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the point of Christmas is supposed to be about family and seeing your friends, I guess. I guess this is supposed to be set when one of the doctor's companions has left and he's alone. And I guess
really
kind of
feeling
bummed.
it.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a nice little ending. I thought it was a nice little heartwarming story. I mean, it's like completely inconsequential in the grand scheme of things.
I guess, yeah. My favorite part of the story was the impossible object thing, which is a concept that a lot of sci-fi stories use, and that surprisingly Doctor Who has never used until now.
Well, it's like the Bootstrap Paradox, which the Doctor has mentioned before, which is like who has created the object, because did the object just spontaneously create itself from the void? Because Tom copies the note from the previous gift
Yeah,
the new gift, so the note has existed.
He's basically the one who gave the doctor the present to give to himself. The simplest, not explanation, but the simplest form of this, it's not really a trope, but this idea, I guess, is that someone gives you something, you go back in time and give them the thing that they gave you so that they can give it to you. Yeah. So it's like, where did the object come from?
Yeah, Doctor Who actually does deal with it when it gets to the 12th Doctor. They have like it's an explicit part of one of the stories that.
Well, that's nice.
The Bootstrap Paradox is a thing, or who wrote Beethoven's Fifth, and the story actually, the episode starts with the Doctor mildly breaking the fourth wall to explain the paradox to you, because otherwise, I don't think.
Great. Well, the one thing I didn't like about this is that they really like play it up as like, wait a minute, if we're the ones who gave ourselves, then who did it? How does this exist? What? That's so amazing. Whereas like anyone with half a brain would get that.
Well, like it works in the TV episode because it's actually really subtle in the episode, and you wouldn't pick up on it unless it was explained to you that like something here wasn't created by someone and just existed. And it's like a key part of the resolution of the plot, too.
All right.
Look, it works. When we get there, like 2 years from now, you'll know what I mean.
All right. Anyway, nice little story.
Yeah. And that's that, I guess. All the hopes and fears throughout the years. I think I've like started to butcher that title the more this episode has gone on.
Actually plays into my fear of Christmas because... yeah, who wants to go buy people things? Like, man, that sucks.
Well, that's why we have Amazon now. Prime shipping.
But yeah, Paul Cornell, I guess, just based on this and Father's Day, I guess, writes a lot of the stories that have more to do with the sci-fi and time travel concepts, which is...
And also the Mosque of Makassar.
Yeah, that one was kind of an outlier, but, whatever.
You can't throw out one of 3 data points. You can only throw out data points when you've got like 20 of them.
We're going to read Shadow of the Scourge eventually.
I guess.
Or listen to, rather.
I guess.
Yeah. Yes, you could read it. Yes, you could type it out and then read it.
Or you could like find someone who's transcribed it already, I guess, and read it, I suppose.
Anyway, now I think we can get to the big reveal.
The big reveal. So
we're doing Blake 7.
We're doing another podcast about Blake 7.
We've hinted / spoiled this for months, but now we're finally coming out and saying it.
I know, we're finally properly confirming it. Like I said, if you followed my Twitter, I may have done a really poor job of like only hinting at it. I feel like I may have just outright said it at some point. We actually discussed this like behind the scenes a year and a half ago.
We've been planning this for like at least that long.
Well, because I found an old tweet from the Trust Your Doctor account that the tweet was, "We just discussed our third podcast not coming out for a long time, but we know what we're doing!" And I retweeted it recently because I was like, this isn't related to anything at all. But yeah, when that tweet went out, we had discussed that we were doing a Blake 7 podcast, and we've just kept it under wraps for like a year and a half.
And if you're following the Trust Your Doctor Twitter, which you should be, I've been following more Blake 7 things, retweeting more Blake 7 things. Real subtle there. I'm really proud of what I did.
I know, we were so subtle about this. Anyway, we didn't mention the podcast we've decided is going to be called Zenith or Zenith, depending on your pronunciation.
I'm going to be saying Zenith.
Yeah, Zenith, because that makes it more obvious what it was named after.
Yeah, I was originally going to be saying Zenith because that's how I pronounced that word since I learned it, I guess. But yeah, Zenith because Zen, and a couple other reasons too. But we'll get more into that when you listen to the episode. You're going to listen to the episode, right? It's coming out on January 4th, episode 1.
We're going to release our first episode on January 4th, and we'll just release a week after that. I think January 4th is... What is January?
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, so I think those episodes will be going out every Tuesday till we finish the TV show, which will be exactly 1 year because there's 52 episodes to watch. And then the podcast is going to end. I think that's what we decided on.
Yeah, we're not going to be continuing the podcast. We're just going to be discussing one... episode of Blake 7 per episode of the podcast. And once we're done, we're going to be done. We're not going to drag out a podcast. Oh, there was that 40th anniversary audio that they're making. We could do something with that, but we're not going to really drag it out any longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, I think our goal is to experience Blake 7 talk about it, discuss it, and then when it's done, just be done with it.
Yeah. Anyway, weekly podcast every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Zenith. It's going to be updated on the Trust Your Doctor page. So if you're already following us on Twitter or Facebook, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, and I guess we'll tweet out the logo when this episode goes out so everybody can see my stunning artwork. And hopefully it'll be on iTunes soon. No promises, though. And there will be an episode 0. I think we were planning to do a short episode 0 at some point as well, just as an introduction to the podcast. But if you listen to Trust Your Doctor, then you should know what it's going to be like, because it's pretty much going to be the same.
And we're going to be explaining a lot of the stuff that we just talked about in that episode 0 and probably briefly in the first episode as well.
Yeah. So tell your friends, tell all of your cynical buddies who like really dystopian sci-fi. None of that optimism like Star Trek here.
Tell anyone who thinks Blake 7 is dead, no, it's not. We're carrying on the torch of I don't know.
There's someone else starting a Blake 7 podcast at the same time. Damn it, I thought we were unique. I thought we had a good idea here.
Pretty sure there's only like 5 Blake 7 podcasts.
If you're even optimistic.
Got to capitalize on that uncharted podcast territory.
Yeah, that's why we started this podcast, was to get into that really solid, huge Blake 7 fan market. Anyway, hope that comes out well. Good. I hope it's good. Blake 7's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I've watched like 7 episodes of it so far. 6, I think, actually.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas, I guess.
Yep. And happy holidays and happy New holidays. Year, I guess.
Happy other holidays. Have a good New Year. And Blake 7 coming, Zenith, a Blake 7 podcast coming to you in 2018. You can email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on our Blake 7 podcast. You can be assured it'll be just as haphazard as our Trust Your Doctor episodes. Oh boy, why do we do this to ourselves?
We're not Blake 7 experts, by the way, just as we're not Doctor Who experts.
I think we're Doctor Who experts now. We weren't when we started the podcast.
Speak for yourself.
That's something to talk about on the 4-year anniversary episode, which is coming out soon. We're very busy right now, apparently. Be sure to check out Triple Play while you're at it. Insidious. It's the next trilogy.
Oh, God.
And you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play, all at Trust Your Doctor. Leave a rating if you like the show.
Check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast, and follow us on Twitter. And, that's... the end.